Beautiful friends, beautiful souls, happy equinox to all of you. It is time once again to vibe with your tribe and feed your prediction addiction. Today is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024, coming at you from Sedona, Arizona. Just within the past few weeks, we've discussed many predictions revolved around subways, and I felt strongly that there was a coming event, a pow pow event, that was going to occur in the New York City subways. I even mentioned, even though they pumped the National Guard into the subways to protect people, that I still felt strongly that this pow pow event was going to happen. And sadly, that prediction did become a reality over the past week, along with another one where I stated a small earthquake would hit New York, and according to someone in the comments, one did hit, very small, in Queens. So what's going on with our friends in New York? Are people even safe in the subways? Not just in New York, but generally. I have a whole bunch of other visions to share with you today. Speaking of earthquakes, we are now approaching that window, if you recall, in which Spirit warned us that there was going to be an uptick in seismic activity. Well, that hasn't quite happened yet, but that window starts today. So, what's going to happen in the way? We also said that Spirit said that Iceland volcano would erupt again for the fourth time. The Iceland volcano erupted. Which volcano is next, and is it potentially possible that there's going to be two volcanic explosions that happen in Iceland? One nearby in Greenland, and some others to talk about today, too, that you're not going to want to miss. Just as Spirit warned us, there's another one on the horizon. There's several on the horizon, and I'm going to tell you where my feelings are pulled to. 17 states. Just here in the United States, no other country, which I find to be very interesting and a bit shady, but 17 states are reporting a measles outbreak concern. So are these concerns around the measles outbreak, is that going to become somewhat of an epidemic, especially in New York City? Because New York City is going to be hit hard. We all feel it. We all know it's coming, not just New York, but in general. So is there any other outbreaks that we need to be concerned about? Like Disease X that they keep telling us from the WEF. Sadly, there is. I'm going to tell you all about them today and what you should not be concerned about. In the past predictions, we discussed that many folks were going to be taken out, such as whistleblowers, members of the elite, CEOs, leaders, politicians, and so forth, and we did see quite a few so far this year. But recently, just last week actually, a whistleblower who blew the whistle on Boeing because of their unsafe practices showed up unalived. Go figure. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, with supposedly two bullets. How is that even possible? Is that even possible? So, really, really interesting. With their unsafe practices, and all of a sudden this guy's showing up, and if you read any of the reports, the guy was a happy-go-lucky guy and just did an interview the day before. So what is that all about? Did he really unalive himself? Spirit also says that bigger whistleblowers are coming, and bigger names are going to be taken out, including a strong potential for two American leaders to suddenly be unalived. I'm going to tell you who. And what my feelings are revolved around this, which touches bases on predictions that I made 3 years ago. So is that time now approaching? Not only that, I see Justin Trudeau may be on the run soon, hiding out. I'm going to tell you why he's going to be on the run and why he's hiding out, and it may not actually be what you think I'm going to say. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss that. It was a while back that I had visions of a gunman on a beach, if you recall. And I did several predictions revolved around beaches and saw several beach incidents taking place. In Florida, a very scary scene with a man on the beach with a firearm, while another beach incident left a person in Florida unalived, and several others injured as spring breakers are causing major issues for the Florida people and the beaches of Florida. But is there more serious issues coming? No doubt there is. I've had many visions today and last night. Visions of events taking place on nearby beaches in the United States, Jamaica, Brazil, Australia, and others that you're not going to want to miss. A whole lot of information today. I will share that with you, these beach visions and predictions with you today, and a whole lot more, of course, on this episode number 109. 109, friends, of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Update. And y'all know what time it is.
It's tea time, baby!
Beautiful friends, beautiful souls, once again, I welcome you. Happy equinox to you, where the days are both equal day and equal night, no matter what side of the planet you happen to be on. If you're new here, my name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT. I welcome you with infinite love and gratitude. I hope you're having an amazing day filled with blessings and miracles. And if you're new here, you want accurate predictions, prophecy, truth, great content, we're here every Tuesday talking about world events, how they may or may not align with world predictions, with new predictions each and every Tuesday. If you vibe with the tribe, you're going to want to make sure you smash that there subscribe, friends. And thanks so much to all the supporters. Whether you're a member of the YouTube platform down below or any other platform that you may find me on, including Spotify, Rumble, a bunch of others, check them all out in the description down below. I thank you to all the members of the tribe down below and the members of the Awaken Your Spirit community on Subscribestar. You can find that link below as well. Also, don't forget the newsletter. It's free, and I send it out at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. I'm just meaning to send one out today, but I just have not had a chance. I don't know if I will. But if I do, the new link will be down below. And if not, you'll just check out the link anyway. Sign up. It's free. You'll find out about upcoming classes, inspirational messages in every beginning of every month. You'll find out what's going on with the numerology, astrology, and so much more. So sign up down below for that special free newsletter. And then if anything ever happens, you know where to find me. You can always find me. And when you do subscribe to that newsletter, you're going to get a confirmation email. Make sure you check your spam folder. Make sure you confirm that email. Make sure, so otherwise you're not going to receive the newsletters, or they're going to end up in your junk folder or your spam folder. So also down below, you can find all the information and links to my PayPal and other sources. I thank all of those who make this free content possible for everybody else through your support, your love, and everything, and for all the members of this tribe. I thank you with infinite love and gratitude. So shall we move on now with episode number 109
Of tea time, baby!
The magic of the equinox is upon us, and we just stepped into the pre-shadow of the Mercury retrograde in the sign of Aries just a few days ago. So therefore, just yesterday, I believe it was actually. And therefore, whether you're an Aries or also Virgos and Gemini, because Virgo and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, you should be very aware of the do's and don'ts of retrograde. It can be a great cycle in which we can make great things happen. The only thing we can't control is how it's going to affect electronics and communications. We can affect our own personal communications, but not when it comes to communications like cell phones and all that. And we'll have to worry about that more in April. So make sure you sign up for the free newsletter, because in April, I'll put out the do's and don'ts of the retrograde and what you need to be aware of. Not only that, not only did we just kick off, or we're about to kick off, eclipse season on the 25th of March. We're going to have our kickoff party for the eclipse season with that lunar eclipse that comes in on the full moon on the 25th, which is sure to start things up quite a bit. And that will also be the first of multiple energy shifts, which I've never seen before. So that's going to be really, really interesting. This is the first energy wave that's going to come flowing in. We had one in January, but this is the first one since January of the tsunami wave of energy that comes flowing in during energy shifts. These energies are meant to awaken people and to heighten us to a higher level of ascension and vibration. Not everybody is open to that or does the work to be able to achieve that, because you do have to do the work. But regardless, it's still going to awaken people on a new level. April is going to be wild. If you remember, in my world predictions for this year, I said that April, the month of April, August, and October would be the 3 most intense months of the year. And we're not far away. Not that March isn't going to kick off well at the end as well. Lots of stuff going on. So hold on tight, because again, we're going to experience a double energy shift between Monday, the 25th of March, and we're going to have another one on the 23rd of April, which will be even more intense, I would believe. But this one kicks it off. That happens on the 25th. And I've been following these cycles for over 15 years, friends. And this is the first time I've seen, and I could be wrong, can't remember everything I say, especially over 15 years. But I would think I would recall a double energy shift happening during these cycles. But I don't recall that ever happening. And regardless whether it did or not, they get more and more intense each time we head around. So this is going to be the first double. It's going to be really, really interesting. And things are going to get real, y'all. They're going to get real. And they're also going to get very raw and very, very real. So remember, today is equinox, the equal balance between night and day. A time to focus on both the blessings over the past year, but also to plant our intentions for the coming year. So make this day a magical day, no matter what side of the planet you're on. Make it a magical day and empower the equinox by putting out your visions of the future, making your dreams come true. This is the way and the time to really ignite that on a powerful, powerful level. Remember, you are in charge. You are in charge of your own life. You are in charge of your future, whether you realized it or not. Your thoughts and words are the blueprints to your future. So no one else can do that but you. So no matter what, this is a powerful time. So hold your positive intentions for the future. Set your goals. Write down your dreams, because when we write it down, we're empowering it. And let the magic of this season ignite a whole new you and an amazing you, even more amazing than you already are. Let's move on. I feel like we talk about New York a lot lately. Excuse me. But once again, New York is one of our hot topics for today. And that hot topic, with more predictions coming into fruition, starting with my warnings last week, that placing the National Guard into the subways would not prevent the coming Pow Pow event that I saw in my vision. Sadly, it did become a reality. Check it out. People had to duck for cover, as you see in this clip, from a person that was running around with a Pow Pow, who happened to sadly hit one person, actually several. That victim you can see in this video clip being rushed into an ambulance. The person caused this tragedy has been placed in custody. And knowing New York, they'll probably let them out. They probably are already out on the streets now. Don't be surprised at all. So, people in New York, our friends in New York. I have lots of friends in New York. And I've been to New York so many times. Partied in New York. Yeah, all kinds of I got lots of New York stories to tell you, but I'm not going to tell you. They're secrets. My secrets. But anyway, New York, especially the subway systems, are they safe? Because sadly, you all know the answer to this question. Are the subways safe? And as I said in previous week's predictions, it's not only just New York City subways. It's going to be others, not just in the United States either. So I had a vision of some type of an attack on a transportation system in Russia, of all places. This feels to me like it's either a subway or a train incident. I saw in my vision lots of thick white smoke and people running for cover. It felt to me like someone ignited something on a subway or train car. Something such as maybe tear gas or some other kind of toxic chemical cloud. And it felt very much like Russia to me. Very much like Russia to me. And you got to remember, let's face it. Right now, the West is not at all happy that Putin just got reelected, as they continuously use that election to pump more propaganda into the masses. Interesting. And I told you, I don't trust any of them. The elections, that is. Any of them. No matter what country you're in. I don't trust it. It's just too much manipulation in this world and too much tricky deception. And you know, these leading families, these elite, especially the highest elite in the 13 royal families, are pretty good at controlling things and tricking people. I got this. Get away, bug. Bug off. If you see something flying around, it's not a spirit, it's a bug. A little tiny bug. So anyway, yeah, I saw this vision of people, and United States is not very happy with Putin remaining in power. At the same time, Russia, apparently, it has has no one else, actually. Russia has no one else capable of taking Putin's place. At least that we could see, or even if you ask Russians, they say the same thing. Now, I know we got some Russian friends that tune in, so let us know down below in the comments. But that was the feeling. There wasn't anybody else. And if there was anybody else, of course, they'd make sure there was nobody else, if you know what I mean. So, Putin, along with other world leaders, are in grave danger, according to the spirits. I'll talk to you more about that and my specific predictions as we move on a little further. I have many predictions revolved around New York City. Everything from subway attacks, a subway fire, remember that vision? The Pow Pow event on the streets, not just the subway one, but on the streets, and a very concerning outbreak, if you remember Spirit telling us that happening in New York. So, if you happen to miss any of those predictions on New York, it's really, really important that you go back and listen to past Tuesday's show. In order to properly feed that prediction addiction, you have to tune in each and every week, friends. You got to vibe with the tribe when we're live. Or when you can, because I know it's different times in different parts of the world. Let's move on for a moment to the earth shaking, because we are heading into that window of time that Spirit warned us about. That very, very active, which every energy shift period, we have 3, sometimes 4 per year. This year, I think we're going to have a record number of them. That's when everything, flares up. Always. Again, I've been following those retrograde and energy shift cycles forever. I did not get a haircut, by the way. People keep asking in the comments. It's all pulled back, but soon I am going to get it all cut off when I actually find time to find somebody to cut it. Busy man. So some people said in the comments, or a person said in the comments, because remember I said that New York would have a small earthquake again. After I said that, and they did have one. Well, the person in the comments said that there was one in New York this past week in Queens. Except I couldn't find any record on the earthquake map. I went and looked. Saw no record of anything. I mean, the United States has been pretty clear for the whole past week. But when I search on there, I always go with the higher magnitude ones. But I searched for the low magnitude ones, and there was nothing. Nothing at all. It's creepy quiet, actually. Especially along the west coast of the United States. Very creepy quiet. The only recent one in the past week was a smaller one up towards Alaska. I think it was Alaska when I looked at the map. So, whether there was or whether there wasn't a small earthquake that happened in New York, the activity, again, that window of time that Spirit showed us, which begins today at the equinox, is going to begin to heighten greatly, but even more so when we get into the month of April around the other eclipses, between the 2 eclipses. March 25th, April 8th. So that 2-week window right there. Time to keep things. I have a feeling I might be doing a lot of live events that week. We'll have to see that 2-week period. Lots of things are going to go on. So I reminded you, if you missed the video on my weather predictions, where I also covered the names of all the tropical storms and hurricanes, both for the Pacific and the Atlantic. We went through the numerology of them. I also did my very exclusive map scrying live in that video, getting pulled to certain areas with specific predictions. I can't remember pretty much of that video at all, but I will make sure that a link pops up above here any moment now. So keep an eye out for that link and go back and check out those weather predictions, because no doubt at all that we are going to soon begin to witness some of those weather predictions coming into fruition over the next 4 to 6 weeks, according to Spirit. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go back to the notes and look at the notes myself. I haven't done that because I keep everything written so that I have notes and files of everything I say. So I'm going to have to go back and look and see what jumps out at me, and I'll let you know next week what jumps out at me in them weather predictions. So remember, we had the lunar eclipse hitting on Monday the 25th, and at the same time, Icelanders, people in Iceland, have witnessed the 4th eruption of their volcano, which they're saying is the strongest eruption so far. I don't know if that's true, but from what I read, they said it was, or what I heard or read or wherever it came from, they said it was the strongest one so far. Well, my friends in Iceland, I want to warn Icelanders of multiple eruptions yet to come. And this time I see a vision of 2 volcanoes in somewhat close proximity erupting simultaneously. for Iceland or right off the coast, but they seem real close together. Not that I'd be able to get them both in one picture. You know, I think I'd have to turn a little bit to get the other one, or they're far off and I'm not getting the other one. I just hit my mic, sorry. But yeah, also nearby Iceland is going to be dealing with some eruption issues themselves as I see another evacuation taking place near a volcano. That could be in Greenland. So I feel April eclipse energy, which comes in on April 8th, is going to ignite what I call a metaphoric wildfire on our planet. Major metaphoric wildfire on our planet, that eclipse. Beginning with world events, leaders being unalived, and major shifts in the Earth's tectonic plates. A shaking is going to come to Rome, and that could even be this month still. A shaking is going to come to Rome, Spirit tells me. Not sure if this affects the Vatican at all nearby, and whether this Rome shaking that Spirit said today is political or seismic, but likely it's going to be both. I also had a vision of a volcano slowly oozing at the top, hot lava. And this is in or around Italy. This is small in my vision compared to the blast that's going to come from the same volcano not too far off in the future, igniting evacuations as well. So we have to keep an eye on that. Because with this volcano, I saw it again slowly oozing and then followed by, and I feel like there was a time lapse, right? Spirit fast forward it to this big blow. So it's like oozing for a while before the big blow. So friends in Italy, maybe you can key us in down below on which volcano that is. I looked at the names of the volcano, and I think there's like 10 of them in Italy. So I didn't get pulled to any specific one. But I was preparing this and always rushing to get this done for you. So people in Italy, please do tell us down below in the comments. I do appreciate your comments. Even the little emoji actually helps the channel. And also, of course, a lot of time and effort and energy goes into this every week. I really appreciate those who actually do take the time to click the thumbs up button. The love button really helps the channel, and so do your comments. So I appreciate that. And again, friends from Italy, key us in on what you think I'm talking about, because I don't know, but it's going to ooze. And then that's a warning of an unexpected blast in the future, is what Spirit said. Spirit shows me that seismic activity is going to flare up in and around the South Pacific, bringing significant sized earthquakes from Indonesia up to Japan and even the northern parts of Australia. Seismic activity along with the Western Pacific, has somewhat been quiet. Like I told you earlier, it's been very quiet, but that's going to end very, very soon, friends. Especially the first week of April, Spirit says, when we begin to see a series of earthquakes along the United States West Coast affecting, of course, California. I also see an earthquake hitting both Southern California along the border of Mexico out towards the tip and on the edge of the shore, so like the edge of the Pacific there. And I see another one in the northern parts of California close to the northern border of Oregon. So even parts of Washington state into Canada can also expect some shakeups to happen right on their coastline as well. One shakeup, Spirit says, will bring small waves to their shorelines, especially in the upper parts, which I would imagine is Canada. And Spirit just told me that now. So it's another reason why you always got to tune in. See, sometimes even if I have notes, a lot of things aren't in my notes. Spirit just likes to chatter, and we love Spirit for that. Thanks, guys. Thanks, girls. We appreciate you. The tribe appreciates the way you vibe, Spirit. So, So the Western Pacific. I was talking about the border of Mexico, California, and then up to the northern parts when Spirit started intervening more information, which we appreciate. So Washington State into Canada, I told you that already. And then Spirit shows me that, of course, once again, we're going to witness very small earthquakes, insignificant in size, really. But what's significant is where they're happening at. Some places that popped in my mind: in the United States, Maryland, Maine, Oklahoma is going to flare up big time, and I would expect Oklahoma City to have a great shaking. And even the country Scotland came to me. I would love to go visit y'all in Scotland and Ireland. But Scotland popped in my mind. So odd places where we don't see them. And you can expect this again over the next 4 to 6 weeks, but especially the first week of April, according to Spirit, which is also not in my notes. And I remember Spirit told me this today, and I just never got to it because sometimes they move way faster than I can take note. The country of Chile. You see a big, big, big quake happening right there. And they're already dealing with those wildfires. And speaking of wildfires, I have a great video that I'm working on. I'm probably about 50% done, maybe 50% done in the editing and such. I have to add to it. I hope to have that going on for you all tomorrow night. And another reminder is next week, or this week, Thursday, I will be doing Thursday or Friday, likely Thursday, the Q&A for the month of March. Questions and answers. You've got questions? Spiritman's got answers, or the spirits do. I don't, but they do. But I might be able to answer some of them too. Always put your questions in the comments with the letter Q, quotations, and then your question. One question. Those that leave 4 or 5 questions, I totally just ignore completely. Just so you know, 1 is fair. And I hope that my members are there so that I can take their questions live. It'll be great. I'm looking at as long as I get tomorrow's video out, which is about the wildfires and where I truly believe the next one's going to hit, or one of the next ones, because there's going to be a couple. But as far as United States, I believe I know where it's going to hit. I've said it in past predictions, but now I have some evidence that points directly to one particular place. You're not going to want to miss it, no matter where you are. Good stuff. Good stuff. So that's what we got. Very small quakes in Chile. Big quake in Chile. I didn't get to hone in on the map, so I'm not sure where near Chile. I would say not far from the fires, maybe like at the halfway point. If you look at the edge of Chile and the halfway point in the middle, I'd say right about there. Chile could also be one of the places that ends up with the big waves from the tsunami waves that I saw in past predictions, which is in my weather prediction video. Let's talk about some outbreaks. Not that we really want to, but we got to, mama. We got to. So folks all over the globe are showing their concerns around the WEF and their Disease X simulation. Have you read all about that? Because remember, they did a simulation before, right before 2020. But the Disease X simulation. I talked about Disease X. We talked about it in depth on here before, but I noticed online there's still people doing videos on it, still people concerned about it, thinking that it's an actual thing, even though they tell us it's a simulation and not actually a name of something. That's what they tell us now, but we'll see how that ends up. I'm not really worried about it. You shouldn't be worried about it either. Just keep yourself happy, healthy, and joyful, and your own high vibration, and it won't affect you anyway. So now I have concerns. The world has concerns, not the world, but United States, which is really shady to me, around the measles outbreak. More than a dozen states within the United States are reporting a measles outbreak. So this has me asking, is it just the United States? Because that was my first question. Is it just the United States? If an outbreak, kind of like COVID outbreak, was in one place, but then it was everywhere, right? So I'm like, it has to be other places too, right? This measles thing. And I looked and I could not find it anywhere else but United States. Not that it isn't anywhere else. Again, I couldn't find it. But if there's an outbreak of measles somewhere else, please do let us know in the comments down below. Because I found it very shady and very, very uncomfortable would be a word, that this is just hitting United States. And we know how things go from place to place. It's been here for a while. It hasn't gone anywhere else. Again, I don't know. From what my quick research shows, no, just the United States. And I only did a little bit of scanning of the internet to see what coincidence could be lying within that little scanning of the internet for outbreaks. And again, it seems to only be affecting young Americans, no one else. Why would that be? Think about that. Why would that be? I mean, I could go into complete detail, but there's some things you just can't talk about. Keep to yourself. But besides a push to get the little ones all pumped up with another alleged preventative, even though that in this time and day, measles actually can be treated. Especially even when it's severe, they can treat it, I think, with antibiotics. I'm not a doctor. I do not know. Do not quote me. But I know it can be treated. That I do know. It's not like it was back in the day where, people were dropping like flies because of it. I'm sure people could still drop, but just not as quick as flies, I think, if they can treat it. So what is it all about? And even though, in this time of day, it can be treated, why this push? Why just America? That's what really had me question. Why just American kids? Spirit reminded me years ago. Remember I said this twice, that there would be an outbreak that would affect the little ones. And that did happen. I forget what it was. It was like 2 years ago. I forget what that outbreak was, hitting the kids. But then Spirit said there'd be another one. This must be it, right? This must be it. A Spirit said there would be an outbreak affecting the little ones. It's got to be the measles. Unless something else is coming too. But again, why target the little ones? They target the little ones. They target our younger generation by pumping fentanyl into things like marijuana now, putting fentanyl in that. That's why, like, kids, that's where the only good thing about dispensaries is if you go to a dispensary, at least you're not getting something that's laced. Hopefully not anyway. Crazy. They want the younger generation to not be in existence or have them lazy, not doing anything, or high on the streets. So that when the time comes, they can fight. Think about that. They can't fight. They'll be the easiest ones to take out. Them and the old people. Not good. But, I have hope for America and the world, and that all goodness is going to come out of all of this. Even in the prophecies, it says we're going to basically be drugged through a hellish time before we come out into the new earth and the new earth nation and the golden age, as many call it. Except the elite want that golden age to be where there's only a few of us left, the little sheep, to be their little servants, while they block off most of the world so that you can't access it. I know, like, where I live right now is on their map of you can't live there. Yeah, you didn't know about that? There's a map of where they want to eliminate people completely and make it that nobody's allowed to go there anymore to preserve the earth. That's insane. The earth has plenty of places being preserved. Why they put pipelines through our national parks? That's okay though, right? Crazy, friends. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But again, holding the light that you are in an amazing place in the future, and you will be. And as far as the measles thing, I tell you all, do not be afraid of it, even if you have little ones. Do what you feels right. Do what you feels right in your heart. Don't trust everything that's being put in front of you. Always do your own research. And know that, again, it's very, very shady. But I would tell you, Spirit says the measles is not something to become paranoid or fearful of. There will be much more concerning outbreaks coming in the near future. Sadly, it feels to me like the United States is now a much larger target of attack than it ever was before, which we know, especially with all millions of people coming in here and hiding in our cities, waiting, sleeper cells. So not solely by China or Iran either, but by the WEF and United Nations, according to Spirit. Spirit says that if humans were to fear anyone, it should actually be those two organizations that I just mentioned. And along with the 13 royal bloodlines is exactly how Spirit told me. The 13 royal bloodlines. And I don't know who they all are. I know who a few of them are, but I don't know who they all are. And they control it all. And according to Spirit, they've been doing so for a long, long time. As we together, we can step into, again, a higher frequency, and in turn shift into a new dimension, what some are calling the 5D. Not everybody's going to go there. We can even relate this to the Christians' version of the rapture. People all of a sudden ascend to heavens, as it's said in the Bible. But, again, was that interpreted correctly, completely? Are they ascending to the heavens, or are they just ascending to the new earth, as it is in the prophecies? So different prophecies, different cultures, but when you put them together, you have a story that actually makes more sense when you put it together. It's pretty amazing. I've been doing the prophecies and following them for a long time. It's even some of the prophecies kind of nudge in a direction that say that the space people were going to come and take the chosen ones off the planet. Just like Neil Young's song after the gold rush. I dreamed I saw the silver spaceship flying in the yellow haze of the sun. Children crying and colors flying all around the chosen ones. Yeah, interesting. And Neil Young says he just made that song up. Sure. Maybe he channeled it from the aliens. That's possible. But again, Spirit says not to be fearful. It should be the WEF and the other ones in the 13 families that's been controlling things for thousands of years. And Spirit also said to me that control that they've had for thousands of years is going to end. According to Spirit, as we slowly step into this higher frequency and dimension, they'll become irrelevant. That's the word. So remember, in places like New York City, we see streets turning into sewers, and Spirit did tell us not long ago that we would see outbreaks of disease, including something new due to the unsanitary conditions in cities and people bringing new diseases over the borders, including what Spirit shows me, a very disturbing vision of someone purposely being, carrying something over a border. I don't know what border. I don't think necessarily it's the United States. I mean, it could be, but I didn't get that strong feeling. And it almost is like they're being injected with it and then going across or carrying it with them. I don't know, but Spirit did show me it metaphorically, like them carrying something over. But again, that's metaphoric. Just because Spirit shows me them carrying a little briefcase doesn't mean they have a briefcase. Again, you got to kind of look at visions, and the way Spirit shows me things often need to be interpreted and aren't always exactly what we think they are. Perhaps, again, this felt more to me like somewhere in the Middle East, such as Israel or even Iran. Could be Iran. I have more specific predictions that might relate to that later as I get to the specific predictions for this week. Another feeling that something toxic is going to be released underground. We know they blow up nukes underground, but this was different because this felt like either a subway or perhaps some other underground facility, like, for example, the underground mall that they have up there in Quebec, Canada. The way New York is looking lately, it could very well be, occur in New York City. Again, underground would be their subways. But do not be surprised when this does occur, especially the one in New York, that they suddenly throw the blame on a MAGA radical. Think about that, because that's coming too. They're going to put infiltrators in there and make them appear like these radicals connected to the MAGA. Going to be interesting. And there could be some of those radicals too doing things that they shouldn't be, less than smart actions that they take. But there'll be some that will be plants, according to Spirit. Speaking of threats and taking out threats, in past predictions, we discussed that many folks would be taken out. And we, from whistleblowers all the way up to me having visions of CEOs, leaders, and politicians, even arrests of politicians, like literally rustling them all up. We haven't seen that happen yet. I think I got that prediction like 3 years ago. So we got to be coming in close. Some predictions take 2 to 3 years. And we're coming close to a time where all these things I said years ago are going to start happening. So I have to go back and look at those. I don't have notes on those, I don't think. I might. I don't know. I forget how many years I've kept notes, but maybe y'all can tell reminders in the comments down below. So again, whistleblowers all obviously get taken out very often. That's not a surprise, but even though Spirit did tell us we were going to witness that. And look at all the problems that Boeing is having with their airplanes. And I'm sure the major lawsuits to go along with it. There was a whistleblower, as you know by now, who blew the whistle on Boeing. He was a former employee of the Boeing and said the unsafe practices and, just blew the whistle on all kinds of things. And then suddenly this guy shows up unalived. How interesting is that? All, again, while the airlines continuously endure more and more issues, one after another, with Boeing airplanes. This is what I call karma, friends. Boeing getting a big old dose of karma happening. So did he really unalive himself? Check this out.
Self-inflicted gunshot wound. So this is my retirement plaque.
Barnett retired from Boeing in 2017 after working as a quality manager for more than 30 years. Since his departure, he has taken legal action against the company, claiming he was retaliated against for raising safety issues internally, issues that Boeing denied at the time. Back in 2019, Barnett sat down with Today, describing a haphazard safety culture at Boeing.
From day one, it's just all been about schedule and hurry up and just get it done, push the planes out. We're behind schedule. You know, we don't have time to worry about issues that y'all bring up.
In 2017, the FAA released a review upholding many of Barnett's concerns. With regards to his sudden death, the company released a statement writing, "We are saddened by Mr. Barnett's passing, and our thoughts are with his family and friends." Production standards at Boeing are under intense scrutiny, following a series of troubling incidents involving Boeing planes. The latest on Monday, when a 787 from the South American airline LATAM apparently dropped abruptly mid-flight from Sydney to Auckland, injuring at least 50 passengers and crew members. The airline says it's unclear what caused the strong movement on the flight. NBC News has also confirmed the Justice Department has launched a criminal investigation into Boeing following the blowout door plug on a 787 MAX 9 in January. The NTSB determined the plane left the Boeing plant without critical bolts that hold the plug in place. A scathing new FAA audit also found Boeing failed to comply with its own quality control procedures.
We're working with Boeing and demanding that they come up with a very detailed plan within the next 90 days to fix the quality issues that are out there.
Isn't it literally impossible to put two bullets here? Legitimately. That's impossible. And that's how it was reported in the beginning when this first man was, when this whistleblower was found unalived in his vehicle, parked. How convenient, his vehicle parked in a parking lot where he was probably going somewhere or leaving somewhere. No doubt. No doubt that he did not do that himself. Guarantee you that. And everybody, the world knows it. I think even mass media knows it. I don't know if they're saying it, but they know it. So Spirit says much bigger whistleblowers are coming. And bigger names are going to be taken out or unalived, including a strong potential for two American leaders to suddenly show up unalived. But who exactly? Who do you think it's going to be? Not who you hope, because you shouldn't hope anybody at all. You should never hope or wish that on anyone. But who do you think intuitively from your heart it could be? So I had a vision a few years ago, if you remember. And some of you, as you know, some of my predictions, again, take 2 to 3 years to come into fruition. So it's been about 2 to 3 years since I saw a vision of consecutive presidential funerals. First, I saw 2 back-to-back, and now I have a strong feeling that soon after there could actually be another one happening. First, and it could be the other way around, actually. It could be we have one, and then suddenly after that shock, 2 happen back-to-back. It's either one way or the other, obviously. It's either the 2 happen and they're shocked, and then the third one, happens. But I'm thinking it's the other way around. And something huge is coming. We all feel it. Not just Americans, but for the rest of the world. And now, years after making that prediction, it's looking much more plausible. Because 3 years ago saying that, it was a thought, potential, possibility, but now it looks extremely plausible that we're going to see these 3 different presidential-like funerals taking place. So initially, I felt, former President Jimmy Carter, who's going to be 100 years old. Next year, I think he'll be 100, but he's 99 years old. And then, of course, Joe Biden. That's who I initially would have thought it would be. I don't know unless Spirit tells me, and Spirit didn't tell me. Now I wonder, because now it feels like it's a big shock to me. And that could be a combination of both Joe and Donald, both suddenly passing away or being taken out in front of the public's eye, purposely. Because, those dark evildoers, they like to make things public sometimes to show people, don't mess with us. They did it with JFK. You don't mess with us, we'll take you out. You don't fight our banking system. You don't tell people about UFOs, all the things that JFK wanted to do, right? So, and we already talked about many times that I saw big attempts happening on DT and likely being successful at it at the same time. Now, I forget what year he's in. Is he in his 9 year? He is in his 9 year, I think. Year of endings, death of cycles. Either he was last year, or I can't remember now. I think he's in his 9 year. Because, yeah, I'm really sure he is. And that would make sense if Trump was in his 9 year, that it would be the end for him completely. And one being taken out in the public eye. So how about the release of the picture that just happened at the White House on St. Patrick's Day of Biden with the entire Kennedy family, almost the entire Kennedy family, I guess those that kissed the butts of the politicians, leaving Robert Kennedy Jr. completely out of the picture, while sending the media on this hate campaign claiming that Kennedy's family stated that his independent campaign is very dangerous. Dangerous, very, very dangerous is what they said. So, for who exactly? Who is it dangerous for? Big Pharma? Might be one of them. In which, RFK Jr. calls out constantly, along with the other truth that he speaks. So is the rest of the family in Big Pharma's pocket? It would appear that way. And what do they know that they're not letting anybody know? His campaign is very dangerous. But they don't say who. But that's what the media tells us. We don't even know if that's even true. Right? I mean, you got to take everything like a grain of salt, especially when it comes through from mass media. So they might have said that, they may not have said that, but to do a picture like that is like a smack in your own family's face. How dare they? Like, how dare they? That poor guy, I feel sorry for him now. I think like when the day comes, I think he's going to get my vote. Not that I'm going to vote at all because you know how I feel about that. Right wing, left wing, same bird. Anyway, I said in the past that we would see that we'll see it again. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s life is in grave danger. I told you that many times in the past year or however long he's been running for. He is the first presidential candidate, did you know this, that the government is completely refusing to provide the appropriate Secret Service protection. Like, how wrong is that? So now you have your family taking pictures with the president saying that your campaign's dangerous. At the same time, that same president and his 3-digit organizations aren't providing you with your appropriate protection that all candidates get. That's crazy. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. Why would they do that? Refuse him, why would they refuse that? Well, think about it. It's much easier to take someone out when they don't have the proper protection. Even though RFK Jr. is not a president or a former president, he's still running. So therefore, if he were to suddenly show up on a live, to me in my visions, it would appear as a presidential funeral. Presidential funerals are, presidents, vice presidents, not current, but even former, like Jimmy Carter. But if RFK, something happens to him, in my visions, that's what I would take it as. Because to me, Spirit just said it. The Illuminati, Illuminati, I want to send a big message. The royal families. Spirit didn't say Illuminati, by the way, I did. Spirit did say the royal families. So royal families want to send a huge message to Americans and the leaders of America who are resistant to what they want and their agenda. Interesting. Now, also, you got to think about this, too, because about 3 years ago, I had a vision of a small plane crashing along the coast or above the water, and I compared that vision to JFK Jr.'s plane crash. So could this actually be the one? I said that about 2 to 3 years ago, so I would expect that to be happening soon, friends. A plane going down on the edge. Well, Spirit, when I saw that vision, it literally was like they were showing me JFK Jr.'s plane crash, literally. showing me that something like that is going to occur again. And even though, JFK Jr. wasn't a presidential candidate or any of that, but he was very connected to the president, right? A former president. So that would make sense. Spirit would show me that. So I don't know, if it is a way that they're going to take out one of these current running mates. If that's not the case, then I would tell you to expect this to occur around some type of important leader or member of the global elite. The plane crash. We'll have to see. Remember, Spirit did tell us we would begin to see the elite start to drop like flies too, and we have been seeing that. And it all seemed to ignite when Queen Elizabeth passed, and then all these royals, all these people were getting sick, and they're all, it's happening. Speaking of that, Justin Trudeau, he may soon go into hiding, according to the spirits. Team Spirit, my friends, did you see my friends? My friends, spirits say that he's going to go into hiding in somewhat of a way. But why exactly? What for? At first, of course, people, including Canadians, may think that this is because of the Trudeau corruption wave that's sweeping over Canadians right now. But my feelings actually go a little deeper. My feeling is that Trudeau is in a fearful state for his life. Not because he's worried about going to jail, because he feels strongly that he's protected by the WEF. So this may or may not be due to other world leaders suddenly being taken out that makes him go into fear. It could be that, making him think that he's next. At the same time, I feel strongly that an attempt to attack Trudeau is coming. A big attempt. And even an attempt not just to attack, but of course to eliminate him completely. I do not feel like that will be very successful, but also Trudeau is in his 9th year, that I know. Endings, death of cycles. And you remember I said over a year ago that he would be out of office. And I told you last year that this year he'd be done. That he was going to face a lot of problems because it was his 9th year. He's facing those problems. But problems are going to get bigger for him because, again, Justin, it feels to me this attempt to take him out is on Justin's horizon in the near future. And they will not be successful in that, in taking him out. I don't feel that at all. And this particular attempt doesn't mean there's more to come afterwards. Scary situation. Speaking of scary situations, it was a while back that I had visions of a gunman, a pow-pow, on a beach. And I saw several beach incidents taking place. In Florida, a very scary scene with a man on the beach with a firearm. While on another beach incident in the same state of Florida left one person unalived and several others injured as spring breakers caused issues all over the state of Florida. But are there more issues coming for Florida? Could Florida be a target? Remember how Spirit told us that Texas was a targeted state, that they were going to be attacked, and they have been consistently being attacked by illegals and fires and everything else. But also Florida. Remember, Spirit said Florida was a targeted state. I'm willing to bet that that's where the next big wildfire that hits the city is going to be. And I actually I believe I know exactly where, due to certain evidence that has come into my possession, which I'm going to share with you in my next video. So you make sure you subscribe and keep an eye out. It's going to be sometime, probably tomorrow, at the latest Thursday. I'm going to finish working on it tonight. Well, not finish it, but I'm going to, see what else I need to add to it, get it all saved and upload it tomorrow. So beach scares, again, it was a while back. And we have all this happening in Florida right now, issues with Florida, but more issues are coming. I had a vision of events taking place on and near beaches, not just in the United States, but Jamaica, Brazil, and Australia, Mike, and others. So from pow-pow events to a raging wildfire. So I'm going to share these visions with you again when I get down to my specific predictions, which is where we're at now. Specific predictions. I gave you some specific predictions already today. But I like to save some, I like to start to have a bunch for you towards the end. And I got other things to talk about besides that. But I see several issues taking place on beaches and on the shorelines. Starting with the same vision that I had in the past of a pow-pow event taking place on a beach that feels to me like a beach that's more tropical. Not Florida tropical, but more like Jamaica tropical. And I think it might be Jamaica. What's the other country? Oh, there's another one. What is it called? I'm having a brain fart. What's the name of that? I just had somebody I know just went there. Someone will say it in the comments, or I'll think of it and put it in the chat room when we're live. Can't remember what the name of it is, but I believe it's there actually, in Jamaica. Separately, I see a separate vision of men coming in on the shores from boats, and it appears in my vision to be like around dusk. So, early evening hours. And they reminded me of pirates, firing into the beach. And I saw firing into the air. I saw them, pow-powing in the air, not at people, but in the air. And I also saw them taking at least one person hostage with them. So beach attacks like this will sadly become a huge concern, scaring people away from several tourist destinations. Now, I don't believe this is, again, all United States. I feel like maybe more in the Caribbean and a couple other places. It's always potentially possible in the United States as well, but I didn't feel like that was the case. Although in the United States and several other countries, the illegals raiding our countries will become a huge concern, especially along the beaches. Be mindful of your surroundings when you're on the beach or no matter where you are, really. Because I had a vision of seeing attacks occurring on a beach. Like attacks, not necessarily pow-pow, but attacks on people, innocent people on the beach. So be mindful, again, of your surroundings as I see those attacks. Separately, I see an issue with bodies washing up on the beach, causing authorities to close off beaches for investigation. This felt really odd to me, as if it's happening in several places and, launching a huge investigation that brings several different departments together. The Caribbean came to me really strongly, Florida, California, and perhaps even New Jersey, with the unalived coming up on the beaches. Creepy. Now, Spirit just wanted me to throw in there that, yes, you're also going to see that when it comes to like a migrant's boat that, doesn't make it to the shore. It sinks, and we'll see some of those coming to the shores as well. But that won't be launching an investigation like the one I just talked about. Because they're, again, migrants trying to get across the water that their boat sinks. So it wouldn't be, red rum spelled backwards, like the movie The Shining with Jack Nicholson. Here's Johnny. Love that movie. So our friends down under in Australia, mate, and in New Zealand as well, are both going to witness strange things washing up on their shores. First, Spirit shows me a vision of what appears to be a toxic foam. It looked like foam, like somebody soaked up the water. And I don't know if it's foam or algae or both, algae that forms foam, but I also see some type of beach closures due to beach fears in both those countries, New Zealand and Australia. I see a raging fire, a wildfire on the waters that totally reminded me completely like Lahaina. I mean, like, it was like deja vu. I mean, so similar, it was crazy. So I would say, people even running into the waters, because that's what I was at. I was out in the water, like I was watching Lahaina from the waters, because all those poor folks that, luckily survived by jumping in the water. Well, that's what this vision Spirit showed me last night. I think it was last night or this morning. I'm pretty sure it was last night, actually. So to me, Spirit tells me the cause is the same as Lahaina. An attack of some sort from a satellite that will once again be, of course, covered up like a little baby that's cold. And I have many areas of concern, including, and I talked about it within the past month, maybe even last week or the week before. I see a concern, including a hit in and around another tropical area, such as the Caribbean or specifically the Virgin Islands. I also see wildfires igniting near the waters in Brazil. I don't know. I know Brazil's a big country. I don't know where I was, but I saw a huge fire along the coastline in Brazil. And then this other one that looks tropical to me. And then I said it before, I feel like Florida's a big target as well. So again, don't forget to join me for that video when I get that out tomorrow. And hopefully it'll stay up and it'll all be well. Lots of good information in there. So I can not quite put my finger on this one, other than the simple fact that I have a strong feeling that something huge is going to happen on Easter Sunday. It feels to me like an attack of sorts. Several, actually, not even just one. A likely target, of course, we could assume would be Israel, but also potential risks to churches that weekend, that day, specifically Easter. So a high risk to churches. So again, when you're out and about celebrating Jesus, make sure you're mindful of your surroundings and know in your heart and soul that you're always safe. Again, that's really important. What you hold in your light and what you hold in your thoughts and words is what the reality will be in the future. So if you know you're good and you go, you're protected, you're safe and so forth, you will be. Doesn't mean you won't witness something happen, but at least you'll be safe. That's all that matters. Spirit shows me two separate visions of the Muslim worshiping celebration, like a holiday of some sort. I don't know what their holidays are, but I believe I was around the Mecca when I heard loud sounds. I couldn't really quite make out the sounds. It was weird. But I heard these weird sounds in my head, and then Spirit showed me the vision of people scrambling for cover. Another vision is similar, but this vision is in Israel, revolved around Christian worship. This particular event could very well play out during the Easter celebrations. It's very possible. So prayers to them. And then I had visions once again of the Eiffel Tower, which has been haunting me all week. I don't know why. The Eiffel Tower has been haunting me all week. And as you likely know by now, I made many predictions for France, mostly Paris, and also even the Eiffel Tower. I made a prediction of an attack on the Eiffel Tower, like you know, a cray-cray person attack on the tower, which did come into fruition when a man with a knife went cray-cray at the Eiffel Tower. You remember that? It was a couple months back, maybe even late last year. I forget when. So I feel something bigger, much more significant is going to come to the Eiffel Tower or right around that surrounding area in the very near future. I'd say definitely within the next few months, perhaps even within the next few weeks. So, you know, we discussed last week TikTok, and we discussed the whole Bill 686 and the ban on TikTok and how it goes way, way deeper than just a ban on TikTok. Of course, the paid-off, brainwashed politicians signed off on that bill. And this is really, really bad news for Americans, friends, because you know Biden's going to sign it. So similar bills have and will be passed in other countries. So I just posted something on TikTok, and they took it down. I couldn't believe it. It actually has to do with the video I'm going to show you tomorrow. It was so silly that they took it. It made no sound. Like, why would you take that down? Oh, truth. There must be a lot of truth in that video. TikTok's owned by China, they say. And, that video, now I think about it, kind of points to China. So, yeah, of course they took it down. That just actually validates that now we know who's responsible for it. Wow, thanks, TikTok, for validating that for us. Now we know who's responsible for using dues. That's part of my video tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss that. So, the brainwashed politician signed it. Bad news for America. And this is very similar to bills that have been passed or are going to be passed in other countries, such as Canada and even Australia. This is all part of WEF, friends, and the United Nations. That's their agenda of a world control. You know, when people say, oh, it's conspiracy, you got to be blind if you think it's conspiracy still. Just go to the WEF website. They put it right in front of our faces. They don't care because they post it. They post it right on their websites, friend, what they're going to do. They do not hide their agenda anymore. they just put it right in our faces because this is how they think. Oh, they're dumb. They're not going to see it anyway. We'll put it right in their face and they're not going to pay attention. And it's true. They have been putting stuff in front of our faces for decades and people ignored it. Not so much anymore. People are awakening. People are having, since 2020, our vision has become much more clear, much more clarity in what we're seeing surrounding us, including even the colors of things and paying more attention to our surroundings. It's all part of the awakening, friends. That awakening is about to go into overdrive over the next 4 to 6 weeks. It's going to be exciting and crazy, but exciting at the same time. So, this world control, again, it's not conspiracy because they post all that right on their websites. Go check out their websites for yourself. They don't hide their agenda. So the whole Bill 686 TikTok ban just in time for election season, how convenient is that? While, they're now flying the illegals into cities because, they're trying to make it look like, oh, the border's fine. Because, yeah, they're flying them all in. Did you catch that video and that information? Flying them into our cities. And why are they doing so? Of course they're doing so to ensure that they have enough people to lock down their seat of power and control, if you know what I mean. You can figure that one out on the easy yourself. It's a scary time we're in, but so what do we do in a scary time like that? Situations like that. The only thing we can really, really do at this point, besides being aware and educating others who are willing to listen, you can't educate those that are not willing to listen. You can't waken people that are asleep. Just can't. I mean, you can try, but you keep trying, you're just actually going to close them down even more. So we must do the work on ourselves. Meditate, ceremony, prayer, or whatever else that you can do to raise yourself up into a higher vibration where there is no fear. Fear lowers your vibration. Remember that. No fear of these coming events. Instead, embrace them because it's all needs to happen for our planet to shift in the best direction possible over the next decade. And, avoid the negative energies and the negative vibrations that illuminate from other folks that bring you down. Remember, we become those in the energy of those we surround ourselves with. If you're around miserable people, you're going to be miserable. If you're around, negative people, you're going to be negative. I see that in the neighborhood I live in because my home is so protected. Ceremony, I do a big circle of protection around my house usually twice a year. As a matter of fact, I'll probably be due for that pretty soon. Maybe I'll actually do that this week and make it an equinox thing. Every equinox that I do my protection around my home. But it's interesting that when you go into a higher vibration, the lower vibrational people love to attack you. Like the new rumor is this narcissist across the street's telling everybody she has video of me cursing at her and her kids. It never happened. If it happened, the whole neighborhood would have a copy of that video by now. Like, let's be serious. She would have sent that to everybody. Send an email out trashing me that I could literally sue for defamation of character, slander, harassment, and discrimination. And I'm holding on to that just in case. But that's what people do when you're in a higher vibration. I don't know why. I experience this too much in my life. But you gotta just kind of let it roll off your shoulders. And I know it can be complicated at sometimes, especially when they brainwash somebody that's your friend and then they're not talking to you like they used to talk to you. I get it, friends. And I know it's hard when you're sensitive and you're a good-hearted person. It hurts. And they love to bring hurt to you. But you gotta smile and not let them see that they succeed. And always stay focused on your own vibration. Because them bringing you down, that's their goal, to bring you down into their low negative vibrations. I say hell with them all, friends. Be happy, be joyful. You don't need them, people. Don't need them. I know Trump needs some money right now. It was interesting, about 3 weeks ago, someone in the comments called me a Trump hater. I'm unsubscribing. Bye. And then the week after that, someone said the opposite. I'm a Trumpenizer, she called me. A Trumpenizer. So I'm unsubscribing. Which one is it? Am I a lover or a hater? I told you, I could care less about any of them. I don't like any of them. I think they're all corrupt. All of them. Doesn't matter what side of the bird it is, the right wing or the left wing. I told you. We need a good female that isn't plugged into all that negativity and the royal family control to run our countries, not just the United States. It's a time for the feminine energy to come in and bring balance, because the masculine energy has been controlling everything for way too long. And now, they want, Trump can't get the money that he needs, and they're going to want him to sell his assets. Spirit told me, says that he's kind of screwed right now. And it's going to take a miracle to shift things around for him, and I don't feel that miracle is coming anytime soon. Chances are, again, they're going to force him. This is stressful on his heart. But Spirit says if they tell you he had a heart attack, don't believe it. Okay. That's all I got for that. But yeah, people, it's actually just horrific. The whole thing. Everything. It's all just horrific. I mean, there's just so much involved, and it's just like, I can't wait until all the truth comes out in all situations, which it is slowly coming out. And what's going to happen? Because people keep asking in the comments, and especially people ask all the time in comments questions that I answer usually on one of my Tuesday shows. That's why you can't miss a show. You don't get a response in the comments because we talked about it already. I bet you I just talked about Trudeau, and I bet you someone will still come along and ask me in the comments what the outcome of Trudeau is going to be. Sometimes I find myself responding saying, did you not listen to the show? I said it. Like, why are you asking questions that we just covered? Because they don't want to listen. I get it. You don't want to listen. You just want the answers that you want. You got to listen, friends. You got to listen. You got to tune in. And going back to that and the whole elections here in this country, I strongly feel that it's going to be a big shakeup and that we may not see an election until early 2025. And candidates that we wouldn't have expected to pop up. Remember, Spirit told us, I just thought of this a while ago, that there would be this candidate that would just show up. This would show up and, be at the top of their game. We haven't seen that happen yet. I believe it's still on the table. Spirit hasn't told me any different. It's interesting. It's interesting to watch their little circus show that they put on. Speaking of circus shows, not so much of a circus show. Look at what's happening to to the poor folks in Haiti. Last week, if you remember, Spirit told us that we were going to see some type of an invasion on the island, on Haiti. So another country interfering is what Spirit told us. Spirit said another country interfering only to appear that they're doing so as an act of kindness, when in reality, it's basically a land grab of sorts, a land and power grab. So someone said something about another country getting involved, but I see airplanes flying over. It almost looks like the scene of a big conflict, I don't see so much of a big conflict, but I see an intervention happening. And another thing, too, that Spirit's saying is Taiwan. Pray for the people of Taiwan. Many folks don't believe it or think it's possible, but they are in grave danger of attack by China. China is sitting back waiting. They already have a plan and a strategy to do so. They're waiting for the appropriate time to launch it. Do we have an estimate on that there, Spirit? No. It's in the air. But it will happen eventually. And likely could be this year. So prayers to them and everybody else. And a happy equinox to you and everybody else too, because I'm going to leave you with that for today. Got to get this uploaded, get ready to do my spring equinox ceremony and plant my seeds to the future. I hope you plant your seeds to the future too. You can do that by take a sunflower seed. That's what I used to use when I did my big events at the hotels back east. We did a big spring equinox event every year at the Sheraton Hotel in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Several hundred people would pack into that room, and I would give everybody a sunflower seed, 2 of them in case one, because there was a bad seed in every bunch. Plant 2 just in case one don't grow. And you take your seed and you hold them in your hands like prayer mode with your intention of what you're manifesting for the future. It's like see it coming to life. Could be anything. Could be your new Lamborghini, my purple Lamborghini that I'm going to have in the future. Hold that intention. Blow your breath on your seeds same way you program a crystal, actually. You hold your intention, take a deep breath in, and blow that breath on the seed. You're empowering it with your breath, with your energy, and with your intention. Nurture those seeds so that as it grows and your flower bursts open, so does your dreams and desires. It's a perfect thing to do. You can do that anytime, new moon, but especially on the equinox. I'll be doing that this evening. After I do the live with all of you, I'll be doing my evening ceremony. So I hope you have an amazing equinox and bring so much blessings and miracles flowing into your lives. Remember to stay positive no matter how much drama is happening in the world. It'll only affect you if you allow it to affect you. Thanks again to all my supporters who make this free content possible for everybody else. I thank you with infinite love and gratitude for your chat cash, your donations, to the links down in the description, to the members of the Awaken Your Spirit community, and to all the members of this tribe that hang out and vibe each and every Tuesday. I am grateful. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Remember to celebrate life, celebrate you. Be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you, and remember to be bold. Be true, be kind, be you. Why? Because you are amazing. Get out there and rock out your bad self. And again, have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste and much love, friends. Much love.